And we are live coming to you on this Monday night. Was the second week of the full week of the season started. The only thing that we really know is ABS is fun and making games. Watching the fans' reaction is louder for the ABS than home runs right now. And just like
A whole lot. My weeks are pretty routine, but still doing all my chores and everything. Anyway, I speaking of CB Buckner, he's not the only umpire having problems.
no.
The Major League Baseball, they didn't like it, but somebody came out and
Hey, Brian.
somebody came out and wrote an article, and they said it was Chad Whitson, CB Buckner, Chris Siegel, Trip Gibson, and Carlos Torres were having the most trouble.
Yeah, I forget. Is one of those did the Marlins Yankees game, and he missed 23 calls. What's up, Jeff? He missed 23 calls during the game, and the majority of them was against the Marlins. So there's a YouTube channel and a TikTok channel that points out all of this stuff. They've been doing it for a couple of years, but now, with the ABS, it's fun.
My Nat started.
It's almost like just go ahead and let the ABS call balls and strikes.
Yeah, right. That's what I said last week. We might as well go ahead and let them do it.
Yeah.
My Nats started out kind of poorly. They started out okay, but they have no pitching. And if you don't have pitching in baseball, you're in trouble. But Jody Weiner, that playing right field for him, he started the season. The first 10 times up, he got on base. That hadn't happened since 1950. Also, some of the teams are instead of waiting for players to become superstars and trying to sign them to $300 million contracts, they're signing them early while they're still in the minor leagues or just being called up. The Pittsburgh called up Connor Griffin, and then they offered him a 10-year, $140 million contract. Remember, Baltimore signed Basilio last year, right after they called him up. And this way, they're following Atlanta's lead when they first signed Acuna and a few of their young stars to contracts. They save money in the long run. But he's one of them that got signed. And the Seattle Mariners, they signed infielder Colt Emerson. He's 20 years old, 8 years, $95 million. And Milwaukee signed shortstop Cooper Pratt, 8 years, $50 million. So they were all trying to get these guys signed up before they got to the majors and then look good, and then they go to free agency and it cost them a fortune.
And also, I've said this before, it sounds like a lot of money, but usually the last 5 years, and with the prices of everything going up, the last 5 or 6 years are team-friendly contracts because the player could probably get so much more on free agency.
Yeah. In Toronto, well, every year some team has it tough, and it looks like Toronto's going to have it this year. They're playing the Dodgers tonight, and they're calling it Game 8. But anyway, they lost Alejandro Kirk. Has a broken thumb. He was hit by a foul tip, broke his thumb, and they're going to perform surgery, so he's going to be out for an extended period of time. They called up the Valenzuela kid from the minors to help him with the catching. They also have four pitchers on. They have four pitchers on the IL: Barrios, Bieber, Yasavage, and Cody Ponce. Cody Ponce messed his hamstring up trying to field a ground ball. So they've got those four guys on. I mean, they're just having all kinds of terrible luck. Carlos Rodon was warming up in a rehab session, and his hamstring tightened up. So they had to sit him back down for a while. Let's see. Kevin Gausman. He had 10 strikeouts in each of his first two games. which set a record for the for Toronto pitching staff. Let's see, what else have I got here? Detroit. Justin Verlander. He pitched one game, got left hip problems, and he's on the IL. So just retire, please.
Yes, he wants to get.
You're starting to irritate me.
Yeah, he wants that. What 500 win? Is he still short of 500 wins
He's still
or whatever?
short of 300 wins. Yes.
Oh, is that what 300, 500 strike? Something crazy. The numbers.
He got 500 strikeouts. He got that last year. It's a 300 wins. He's short of. Arizona, Jordan Lawler has a broken right wrist. He was hit by a pitch. He's going to be out for a while. The Mets, Juan Soto, he'll be out 2 to 3 weeks with a calf strain. Mookie Betts is on the IL with an oblique, which a lot of obliques in the major leagues.
See, I refuse to have an oblique, so it's hard to strain it.
Yeah, well, I was trying to figure out what that intercoastal waterway thing that I couldn't find it on me. I looked at it. Now, Mason Miller of the Padres, counting the WBC in the postseason last year, he hasn't given up a run in 33 1/3 innings. He reached 103 the other night when he closed the game.
And he has one of the great entrances right now in baseball.
And the problem with the Padres is they're like the Giants, they're having a hard time scoring runs.
Yeah.
And there's several teams having a hard time scoring runs.
Giants also have a problem with their relief pitching. I watched several of their games.
Well, if you watch the Nationals, the Nationals played the Dodgers 3 games. They scored 6 runs, 5 runs, and 6 runs, and they gave up double digits in all 3 games because their starting pitching's terrible and the bullpen's worse. So if you had it, and then they're playing busboys and traffic cops at first base. I mean, they don't have a steady first baseman, and they're just moving people in and out over there, and it's a disaster. Now, the Gold Glove for the American League in right field has already been won by Joey Odell.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys got to put this up on YouTube, TikTok, or wherever they're showing it. This guy robbed 3 home runs off the Mariners in one game.
Yeah.
It
was. So my friends were instantly talking about it. Was it this morning? Yesterday morning? Whatever. And
last he did it.
Yeah, so it was yesterday. And it's on YouTube.
He's amazing. It's amazing.
Well, he was so.
You can put it up on MLB.
When he came up, it was so much hype around him. He just wasn't living up with it. Yeah. So the first, I looked him up, and there's just all these highlights of him on, robbing it. Hold on one second.
It was just simply amazing. It was, to see, you see individual catches in games, but not 3 of them. I mean, that was.
I'm sitting here wondering if I'm going to get like a copyright strike. I'm not really worried about it.
He did it again.
That was the 3rd one.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a drive out to right from Raleigh. Adele's back near the wall. He leaps and he caught it. Joe Adele robs Raleigh of the one his first home run this year. What a play! Joe Adele, we were talking about going to that short wall last night. Well, a little bigger wall here. And Adele says hello to an incredible play.
I mean, like you said, go ahead, just give him the Gold Glove.
He's at the wall. He leaps up. He got it.
What they got to do is hit it further.
That is unbelievable.
Or hit it to left.
Yeah, hit it somewhere else. Oh, he hit the center. Trout can make some catches too.
Back to the wall. Time his leap again. Wow.
He times his leap again. No shit. Excuse me.
Oh, that was.
So it's a home run. They pulled him out. He did it again.
They did the replay, and they said it's an out.
Yep.
That was just incredible. 3 catches in one game. and they won 1-0. That's the
Right.
other.
By Joe Adele to begin with.
That-
Going into the crowd, young
I mean, here again, I got to give some love to the Angels because they don't get much, and so you got to enjoy that. And I saw, I was watching the Pirates, the game that Connor Griffin came up, and he came up in the first inning, and he swung at 2 curveballs. He looked bad, but he barreled down, got 2 balls, 2 strikes, and ripped a shot to left center field and drove in a run, and then he scored from second base. So sliding home. Now he's only hitting 180 since then, but that first game was outstanding. The people in Pittsburgh were going berserk, and I was happy. I was really happy for the fans in Pittsburgh because they haven't had a whole lot to cheer about in the last several years. And my Nationals, they got this guy named Nicholas, a pitcher from St. Louis, and I watched him a couple of times in St. Louis last year. So, I mean, every time I saw him, they beat him like a tom-tom in a 1950s cowboy movie. I mean, it was terrible. I mean, boom, 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 boom. And the Orioles are looking like the Orioles last year, which isn't good. and I don't know how many fans you have of the Red Sox, but they're already writing the season off.
Right.
Because they're 2-7 and the Yankees are 7-2, so they figured they're already out of it.
Right. Yeah, I mean that's those type of ever since they won the World Series, it's like the rest of the year is over. What's going on, Warren? Nice to see you back this week. Oh, did you? Yeah, Connor Griffin cards, and like one of my friends said, the Connor Griffin, like getting those, they're going to be cheaper than buying it whenever his first Topps card is coming out. So that's a smart move. That's my one card thing for today on the show. So, one thing I want to touch on when we're talking about the news and stuff, I just saw it right before we came on. I was scrolling through some Facebook stuff, and I saw in there that supposedly on your local TV on NBC and the CW, they're going to be showing some Nationals games.
Yes, they announced that the last few days on Channel 12, the NBC News on the affiliate. They have a sister station called the CW, which is another channel which shows like Friends and stuff like the stuff.
Yeah. Well, they got
But they also show other things. And they, in between them and Channel 12, they're going to show 10 Washington Nationals games.
Okay.
This summer. The first one is on the 17th of April, and it's going to be shown on the CW. And also tomorrow night, the CW is going to televise the opening game of the Squirrels in their new ballpark in Richmond.
Okay.
So it's sold out. So they're going to televise it tomorrow night. So I'll be able to watch.
All right. Yeah, because I was just because I've been seeing some stuff on more like local television channels doing stuff across the country. I've been reading more and more, and I wanted to ask you if you saw that on your local television. That's pretty cool that they're doing that. Where maybe people like you were talking to me yesterday don't have the capability of getting the channel that it's on, and at least they can watch 10 games. I mean. I don't. It sucks still, but at least it's 10.
Well, it's better than nothing, and they're trying. I mean,
right.
it's because it's the streaming thing is going to get much worse. I mean, it's and the other thing is too, and I told you this yesterday also, that we lost our CBS affiliate.
Yeah,
because they Comcast and Channel 6 in Richmond, the company that owns them. They can't come together on a price and to renew the contract. So there goes the Masters next weekend, and hopefully, in the NFL in the fall and that if they don't have anything done by then. So again, I one thing I learned, one thing COVID taught me was I could live without sports.
Right. Yeah, we've talked about and sports didn't learn anything from it. They just doubled down. Jeff says it looks like Sunday Night Baseball will be on regular NBC this Sunday instead of Peacock.
Yes, it's supposed to be on regular NBC. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who they got, but I mean, what I don't know why they would put it on Peacock and not their NBC channel. I mean, especially when summer starts, because summer programming usually sucks. What else you're going to show on a Sunday night? I mean, America's Got Talent 67.5. I mean, for the summer, what I don't, I don't know. It's kind of ridiculous. But anyway, I'm just so used to, I don't want to say growing up because, I'm 54. So most of my childhood, we did not have, like, it was late in my teens, late teens, when we got WGN and TBS as a regular on our cable, where we had baseball all the time, and ESPN started showing a couple, Sunday night baseball on Thursday. So, and we always had WDCA when I was a little kid, but they didn't show all the games. They showed quite a bit of Baltimore, but we got spoiled, I guess. I guess that's the right word. I don't know, or it should be, where baseball should be easy to watch. It's just it sucks. Me and my friends at work talk about it. We miss the super stations and all that.
Well, see, the thing is, we live in a capitalist society, so I have no problem with people trying to make money.
Right.
That's what they're supposed to do. But when we're talking about professional sports or even intercollegiate sports, we're talking about people with a whole lot of money. They don't need much more money to live on.
Right.
They
Yeah,
don't.
how much? Right. How much
don't.
is?
So why not, for once, think about the fan? You keep saying you do, but you don't. So if you think about the fan, you put it on regular network television so everybody can watch.
Yeah. So Warren says, I miss the old days of Sunday night baseball games on regular TV. I do. I mean, I miss Sunday night baseball. I mean, ESPN. Give me back Joe Morgan, and what was the original voice that does? I think he does the Giants games, or used to, or
he used to do the Oriole games.
Yeah,
talking about. Oh my goodness.
He was. I mean, that was. I mean, I love.
He's pretty close to my age.
Yeah, he probably. I know he's not now, but I mean, that was just such a. You knew as soon as you heard Joe Morgan and him talk, it was Sunday night baseball, and it was, you didn't care. It was Sunday night baseball. It's kind of like Monday Night Football. It was kind of the same for me, anyway. John Miller, thank you, Jeff. Thank you. My brain went dead. John Miller, one of the great voices
on television.
Yeah, him and Joe Morgan were awesome together.
Well, when I was a kid, we first got a television. We only had one game. That was Saturday.
Right.
And
Well,
then,
I mean,
about 3 years later, they started showing a Saturday and a Sunday game.
Right.
They showed it 2 days in a row.
Well,
and the Saturday game was Dizzy Dean and Buddy Blattner.
Oh, yeah.
And then Buddy Blattner left CBS or whoever was showing it and went to do the Yankee games. And Pee Wee Reese retired from the Dodgers, and he went into the booth with Dizzy Dean.
Yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, we just had Saturday. I mean, we had Saturday. I watched Baseball Bunch with Johnny Bench. This week in baseball, watched it religiously. Could not wait for Twib. And then it was the Saturday afternoon game. It was, clockwork. And, I look forward to that because that was the only time I got to see different players. I mean, that's, it was cool to see that. So, I didn't sit there and watch it all the time because I went out and played. You got a big enough backyard for us I could play baseball in the backyard. So
you went up to the Little League fields and played.
Yeah. So, and then when we were too big, 6 blocks away was the ballpark. So we always had a place to play. But anyway, like I said, I've been saying it. I get tired of talking about, San Diego Chicken. So we.
Well, I remember when I was a kid, they came up with the original home run derby.
Yeah.
And I remember you'd see some type like like Ted Kluszewski would go up against Mickey Mantle in the home run derby.
Well,
And
and
so
they've
much
re they reshow that on MLB Network every once in a while. They were reshowing
white
that.
stuff, black and white ones.
Yeah, they used to reshow that somewhere because I remember sitting there and watching it with your dad, Granddad, and Granny Joe, your parents, while you were outside working, and I was sitting there watching. I remember in him talking about these players to me, and that's when I got really, he used to talk to me about Snyder, Clement, the greats too, but I had a visual with him and him talking about them and Granny Joe, and getting to hear about that's my introduction into the golden age, really, of baseball was those home run derbies. And,
Well, your grandfather's favorite player was a Yankee fan
Yeah.
to begin with, and his favorite player was Joe DiMaggio.
right, and many were, yeah,
Granny Joe, she was a White Sox fan,
right,
so she kind of liked Nellie Fox and Minnie Minoso and that bunch.
right.
So, but you got introduced to some of the older players then. So
Mhm.
when you went into the card collecting thing, I mean, it wasn't like you'd never heard of these people before.
Right. So it was pretty cool to watch. I mean, if everybody gets a chance, me and my friends talk about it every once in a while. They actually have a baseball card set of it. It's a really cool thing to watch,
Well, I
and they
think
do
the
interviews with the players. It was during a
highest
spring
paid
training.
player in the 1960s was like $150,000, and people thought that was outrageous
Right.
to pay somebody $150,000 to play baseball. Because
Right.
they used to have jobs.
Yeah.
When they went home in the wintertime, they all had jobs because they didn't
Well-
make enough money playing baseball to live year round.
Yeah, and in pre-war, they also barnstormed through the South a little bit while they still could play. They got too cold, and also in the Caribbean countries.
And
So
they had Mexico leagues back then.
yeah,
in the 50s.
yeah, Puerto Rico, Cuba. Cuba was a huge baseball spot.
Well, Cuba had a team in the International League.
Right, but they also,
They were
but
the
I
best
mean,
super team.
they had a league in the winter, so or at least when it was cold here. So, yeah. So it's man talking about that is very interesting. And the reason why I love Roberto Clemente, his story, the sadness of how it ended, but what he was doing. When you're such a loved person and your best friend would not believe your past and chartered a boat to go dive to make sure, that's what Manny Sanguilla did, the catcher for the Pirates. Great player, great person.
Some of these, you were talking about Trout. He got hit by a pitch on his hand, and he's got an abrasion. So I don't know they don't know if he's going to be out for any length of time.
Right. But my point is that when I went to the Baseball Hall of Fame, I got attracted to that. I started looking at all the Caribbean. They had all the Hispanic leagues and everything, and it was interesting to really look at that and see the history of those leagues. That was pretty cool. But yeah, so Trout got hit, and
I just remembered that. I didn't have that written down, but I saw that on the highlights yesterday morning before I went to church. Shohei Ohtani, the Nationals yesterday, we didn't get hot. We were supposed to have this rain all day, and we got 18 drops. Well, Washington got rain, and so the game was delayed. Well, Shohei Ohtani and a catcher came out in the rain, and he stayed out there for 30 minutes, warming up, throwing in the rain. There was a couple and their young son wearing Dodger stuff, standing next to the screen, watching the whole time, getting soaked in the rain. So when they were done, the catcher ran in the dugout. Shohei went over to the kid, the boy, gave him the baseball he was warming up with, and then took selfies with the family. And then he went into the dugout.
yeah,
He thanked them for coming to the game and then went into the dugout.
Well, Tommy's just a good person. I mean, you kind of know
Well,
that.
he got struck out the other day by a young Nationals pitcher that last year was in the minor leagues, and the young man's mother had a serious illness. I think she had cancer, and it was really bad, and they had terrible financial problems. And Otani helped pay her medical bills.
Mm.
He heard
Well,
about it. He heard about it and helped pay her medical bills. And
so
the kid struck him out the other day.
So talking about bad weather, I got a notice today since I follow some of the Met stuff on socials. They are early starting tomorrow, the next 2 days in New York against the Diamondbacks because of cold and bad weather. So instead of a 7:20 start, they're starting at 4:10 tomorrow and Wednesday because of high winds and cold weather. So.
Well, this
I've
is
never,
the year where one day it's 80 and the next day.
yeah, I've never heard them doing that before. I've never heard of them moving up a game because of cold weather. I've seen them snow outs and everything else. I found that pretty interesting, and I thought it was a smart move. It sucks for people that want to go to the game and got to work and had tickets. They said they're honoring the ticket at the game, but they're also giving all the people a ticket, a voucher for a future game too.
They're learning from golf. This past weekend they were playing in Texas, and a terrible storms were coming through Texas and near San Antonio, and they started early in the morning and played threesomes on both. Started on the 10th tee and the first tee.
I was going to say a lot of times, they'll
so
start.
They could get it over with, and they still Saturday they didn't make it. They didn't make it because the storms came through, and they still had to finish up Sunday morning the third round and then do the fourth round. But they got it in yesterday before any more bad weather got there. So, I mean, it's just golf does it all the time. So I'm not surprised. Maybe baseball, some places like you said, some won't do it because of. I mean, if the World Series is scheduled to start and it starts at 8:20 at night in the 1st of November, that's when it's going to start. I don't care if it's 25 degrees.
Right. Well, I want to end it on this today. With everything going on, I think baseball this year has right now some good stories. You talked about Mason Miller, Joe Adell, just some even with the ABS, I think it's working the way it's supposed to work. I hope the umpires don't take it personally.
The games I've watched haven't been interrupted by that as much. There may be
it's not right. It's not as interrupted. It's just I think some of those umpires feel like they're being shown up a little bit, and they can't stand that. But it's hard to throw the ABS out the game. But we're having some good stories, and I've been watching the Mets without Juan Soto. They scored like 11 runs, 9 runs, 7 runs. Not saying it's because he's out. I'm just saying it's they doing better than I thought, and some players that I didn't think was going to be the guys are showing up, and that's kind of like the story. And Logan Webb pitched better the other night. He only gave up 1 run in 6 innings, I think. Then a guy came in after him and gave up 5. But some good stories, and that's what I like about baseball.
The Yankees are rolling. The Yankees are rolling.
Well,
the Dodgers
I'm not surprised, and I want to stick by what I said in the preseason that they're going to win 100 games plus. They're going to win the division, but they're not going to make it to the World Series. That's my prediction because the way they're built. Cleveland changed their start time for Tuesday due to cold weather. Yeah, so it's a thing going on. I mean, it's smart. They don't want makeup games when they know ahead of time. So maybe they'll do that for rain and stuff. Miami back in the day when they were playing outside, they noticed they were getting the showers at a certain time. So they moved the games back 30 minutes to let the showers come through and then play the game. So, use your brain a little bit and, and it works. So I just noticed that today. It caught me. I thought it was interesting, and I thought it was smart. So I thought I'd bring that up. And so, but anything interesting to you, Dad, before we get out? That any stories or anything?
No, I just I found it. It was kind of funny that the Boston fans were so upset because I mean we've just been playing 2 weeks, people.
Right.
A lot of stuff's going to happen between now and October. I can tell you
Right.
that. So
Right.
just chill, take a chill pill, and don't worry about it. They're going to play better ball. I mean, I'm just telling you, everybody.
They're a young team too. You
Oh,
have
yeah.
to kind of So, all right. Well, we're gonna leave you there tonight. Enjoying the games. Like I said, I was gonna let Dad kind of run with it tonight because I've been really busy here in the last week, only picking up reading and watching some highlights. And I did watch some games this week. At least I had them on while, as you can see, I have Bear stuff all behind me. So I've been working on stuff in my apartment that I just moved into. So hopefully next week we'll have a little bit more for you. But watch the games, enjoy this season, and we will see you next time. Later.